So today we have our second tutorial class, and like last time I am going to discuss about the steps. The slides has been already uploaded. You go to File tab under Microwave Theory. So let's start. The very first problem, it's given that a two-port network is driven at both ports such that the port voltage and currents have the following values. So input and output voltage and currents are given. Port impedance, that is for the source and load, it is also given. So you have to find out input impedances at each port and then find the incident and the reflected voltage at each port. Well, so before proceeding, last time we discussed that exception with circuit theory is that we have to consider everything in terms of electromagnetic wave. So keep that point in mind. You consider voltage wave, current wave, and so on. Otherwise, you will be confused. If you want to relate it directly with circuit theory, it won't follow. Well, so you learned about two-port network. Let's say this is a two-port network, and we have 4 terminals. Then at the input port and output.
Hello. Hello.
Oh, sorry, yes. Now you can hear. Well, so at the ports, then we have 4 terminals. Then the input voltage and current is given. So input voltage, if I define here as V1, and total voltage is given, total current is given. So just take V by V1 by I1. You do it. It's coming 50 ohm. You should check it. Similarly, for port 2, voltage and currents are given. So Z in from port 2, it is V2 by I2. You see here it is coming imaginary, J50. Again check. Next, incident and reflected voltages. So as I said, don't be confused with circuit theory. We consider in terms of electromagnetic wave. So here we are considering voltage wave and current wave. So V1, this put 1 voltage, it is basically V1 plus V1 minus. Then for any port in general, if I consider it Vn plus, then that is equal to this voltage plus we also have a current flowing through this port impedance. So that I need to add it with it, and together it is incident on this two-port network. So you remember that thing. I am using that definition. Then V1 plus, it is the port voltage, plus the current component which is passing through 50 ohm load. So here its current I1 is given 0.290 degree. So together this voltage wave, now it is incident on port 1. Well, this is the forward going voltage wave. After that, just numerical calculation. Now what about the reflected voltages? So if for incident voltage it is plus, then for reflected voltage it should be minus. So then this is 1090 minus 50 into this voltage, sorry, current into port impedance. It's coming 0. Well, that it should be, because you see input impedance already we derived 50 ohm. Now 50 ohm port is connected to 50 ohm network, then there should not be any reflection. That is also coming from this analysis. So you repeat it for port 2, same thing. Now consider this voltage V2 and current I2. I2 is flowing through what? 50 ohm load. It's given Z not 50 ohm. Well, do you have any confusion with this? You can switch on your microphone.
Sir, could you explain like the formula?
Formula for what? You are not audible. Formula for what?
Sir, this slide. Sir, last slide.
Well, actually, if I zoom it in, here we have the port impedance, no? And that is connected like this. Now I said that you have to consider as a wave. So V1 is the port voltage, it is the total port voltage. Now I want to calculate what is the incident voltage, forward going wave, voltage wave. So then with this V1, we have an additional part due to this load coming that I need to add with this. And how to calculate this additional part? Current component is given I1, I1 entering here, left to right. So then this I1, it is flowing through this 50 ohm. I know then what is the voltage drop across this. So this voltage wave is now superimposed with this one, and together it is going in right hand side direction, forward going wave. And what about the reflected one? Then from V1 we need to subtract it, and that is coming out from port right to left. So we are using the concept of wave. So here you can see then this for plus we are adding them, for minus we are subtracting. Okay, next one. Derive Z and Y matrices for this given network. So we'll be using formula directly. You know the definition of Z11. Z11 is equal to input voltage by input current provided, out I2 equal to 0. So that means output should be open circuited, and then we calculate V1 by I1, right? So this current component is now divided into two parts. One goes through ZA, another one ZP and ZA combination. It's looking like a voltage divider. So we can represent then this one in terms of voltage and put it here, and it's coming ZA into ZA plus ZP by twice ZA plus ZB. You check it. Okay, this calculation. Now Z21, it is V2 by I1 when output is open circuited. So V2 by I1, So here it is easier to express V2 in terms of I1. Then I1 cancel out. So I1 is coming here, it is divided into two parts, and the drop across ZA, that is actually V2. So you then calculate it, and it is coming ZA square by twice ZA plus ZA. Now, since it's a symmetrical network, then Z11 is equal to Z22. Similarly, Z12 is equal to Z21. Now, what about Y11? We use the definition again. It is I1 by V1 provided V2 is 0. It is short circuited parameter. So V2 0 means I have to short it. So if I short it this point, and then I express V1 in terms of I1. So it basically becomes ZA Z2 parallel combination. This end is shorted, right? So it is coming ZA plus Z3 by ZA into Z. That is equal to Y2. So you see here, Y11 is simply not equal to 1 by Z11. Or Z11 is not equal to 1 by Y11. That is expected, because Z11 or Z parameters, they are open circuited parameters, and Y parameters, they are short circuited parameters. Conditions are different. Well, so similarly, Y21 you calculate. Now, for the second circuit, this one, second one, so again same approach. Z11 is V1 by I1 provided I2 equal to 0. So I1 it flows through YA, then YB. No current through this second YA. Well, so similarly you can calculate Z21, Y11 and Y22. Okay, so just keep it open and short, straightforward. It becomes like a circuit theory problem. Third problem, this is on waveguide. Consider a lossless air-filled rectangular waveguide. Dimension is given. A broadside 22.86 millimeter and B 10.16 millimeter. Well, so calculate the value of propagation constant per meter of the propagating mode at 10 gigahertz. At the cover. Well, so AB dimension is given, then we can directly calculate by using the formula. So formula, if you go through slides, beta, it can be represented in terms of twice pi f by c square root of 1 minus x by f whole square. F is the operating frequency, x is the cutoff frequency. So let us first calculate then cutoff frequency. We just put the formula, and FC, it is coming 6.56 gigahertz for TE10 mode. Okay, so once it's done, then put the values here. It is coming 158 radian per meter. Okay, so do you have any problem with this? Well, then next one, Just hold on, I have a call, 1 minute. Okay, sorry about the delay. So here a rectangular waveguide dimension is A into B. Its cutoff frequency is given 6 gigahertz for TE10 mode. Cutoff frequency of TM11 mode is also given. So you have to find out cutoff frequency of TE01 mode. So rectangular waveguide is like this. We have now two dimension. One, this is anyway, so broad dimension is A and narrow dimension is B. We need to find out. So we need two relationships because we have two unknown, and that is given. So we simply use the formula then. Cutoff frequency for TE10 is 6 gigahertz. That means twice A, it's coming 5 centimeter. It's air field. So A already we know 2.5 centimeter. Now for TM11 mode, use the formula m equal to 1, n equal to 1, and put the value of A. So B is coming this. So AB dimension is given. Then TE10 electric field variation along A direction, and TE01 now we have to consider electric field variation along B direction. So it is defined by then twice B, lambda C. Well, so we have lambda C 01. Then you calculate what is the cutoff frequency corresponding. It's straightforward. Next one. It is on S parameters. We have two two-port networks. Sorry. Input voltage, it is defined in terms of the incident and reflected voltages, V1 plus and V1 minus, and at the output of the second network, this is V2 minus and V2 plus. We have to find out overall S21. The expression is given, basically you need to prove it, that it is equal to S21 of the first network multiplied by S21 of the second network divided by 1 minus S22, that is the output reflection coefficient of the first network multiplied by the input reflection coefficient of the second network. So how we proceed? We simply start from definition of S parameters. So if you recall, for the S parameter, the reflected wave, voltage wave, it is represented in terms of the incident voltage wave. So for the first network then, by definition, input side reflected voltage is V1 minus, output side reflected voltage is A. Then V1 minus A, that is equal to 2 by 2 S matrix of the first network multiplied by V1 plus V vector. Similarly, you can write down for the second network. Here reflected voltages are V and V2 minus. Then we need to find out V1. We have to express then that overall S parameter, that is V1 minus and here V2 minus equal to overall S parameters into V1 plus V2 plus. Well, so how to proceed? You see S21, this is V2 minus by V1 plus at the input when V2 plus is 0. So basically output port, it is match terminated. If it is match terminated, then B, this is simply equal to S11 of the second network multiplied by A. You recall, last day we solved a problem when the output was short circuited. In that case, we have also a part due to V2 plus, which is coming at port 1. But since it is now match terminated, we don't have any contribution of V2 plus. Then B, it is only due to reflection at the input port of this second network. So B is equal to S11B into A. Similarly, V2 minus, that is equal to S21B into A. Right? So whatever wave incident here, a part is coming out here because we don't have any reflection from rightmost port. Well, so B value, and we could relate it by using S11 and S21 of the second network. Next, then A. What about A with respect to the incident wave? V1 plus. So if I look here for the first network, then V1 plus a part is coming as the output wave, and we don't have any reflection from the input side because it is match terminated. So by definition, this is, so a part is coming due to V1 plus as A, which is given by S21 A into V1 plus we have an additional part. Why? Because this B, it is coming from the second network and reflected back from this output port. So this A, it has two components. One is due to V1 and the second one, this is due to reflection from due to this B. It's coming then reflected back from port 2 of this first network. And that is defined by then S22A into B. B is the incident wave. So it is coming this. Now put the value of A in the definition and then express it. The S21 is equal to, it's coming this. Then after that it's straightforward. Any confusion for this part? Please switch on your microphone and ask me if you have.
Sir, can you explain why that was open circuited?
Which one?
At the right, V2 minus V2 plus.
This circuit I never said. This circuit I never said open circuited. Previous problem.
No, this problem only.
Which one you could not understand? This slide or next slide?
In this mentioned that you are taking V2 minus V2 plus as open circuited, and then
No,
what's the
no,
situation?
I never said it is open circuited. It is match terminated output side. If it is match terminated here, if I put match termination, then we don't have any V2 plus, right? This part is 0, and when we define S parameters, you recall, we do
Yes,
not
sir.
use short circuit or open circuit. We use match termination. That is the advantage of S parameters. That is why we use S parameters at micro frequencies. You don't need open circuit or short circuit. So since V2 plus is 0, it is match terminated, not open or short. Okay, so we don't have any contribution coming from right to left at the input of the second network. Any other confusion? You can switch on microphone and ask me. Well, then problem 6. You see, scattering matrix of a 4-port network is given. It's 4 by 4 scattering matrix. Now what you have to do? Several parts of this question. Is this network lossless? Is this network reciprocal? Then what is the return loss at port 1 when all other ports are terminated with match lobes? Well, till this point, we draw it straightforward. Let me share previous this slide. You see here, for lossless network, the dot product of any column of S with the conjugate of that same column gives unity. So for a 4-port network, then if I consider the first column, it should be valid for all the columns. So for the first column, then S11 squared plus magnitude of S21 squared plus magnitude of S31 squared plus magnitude of S41 squared. Together that should be equal to 1. Well, and what is the condition of reciprocal and symmetric network? It should be equal to S transpose. What that means? S12 is equal to S21, S13 is equal to S31, S14 is equal to S41. Similarly, S23 is equal to S32, and so on. Right? So with respect to diagonal element, lower triangle and upper triangle, it looks like mirror image. Well, then now we check this network. So reciprocal or not, okay, we can 0.6, it is same, 0.4, yes, it is also same, and these diagonal elements are 0, this side 0.5, 0.5, 0.3, 0.3. So what do you think? This is reciprocal network or not?
It is reciprocal.
Yes.
Symmetric reciprocal.
So next, then I need to put the values. Just for the first column we did, and we found that it is not equal to 1. We are considering magnitude, you check. So we have to consider 0.178, 0.6, 0.4, and so on. It is from energy conservation. Well, if it is equal to 1, you can't directly say it is lossless. Then you need to check for second column, third column, fourth column, like this. Usually it is symmetric. For half of the matrix, if you can do 1 and 2, then that should be fine for symmetric network. Anyway, next, return loss port 1. All other ports are mass terminated. Well, this is the definition of S parameter, no? When all other ports are mass terminated, then whatever voltage coming out from S11, that is represented by S11. So then this one is directly giving you S11. We don't have to do any calculation because it's just following the definition of S parameter. Okay, so a return loss, since they said, so we have to take minus 20 log base 10 of gamma. It's coming 15 degree. Next, insertion loss and phase delay between 2 and 4. Again, it is following the same definition of S parameter, because all other ports are mass terminated. So port 2 and port 4, S24 is 0.345 minus 45 degree. So it is okay. So from 2 to 4 and 4 to 2, one is it is minus 45 degree. Since they are saying it is delay represented by plus symbol, 45 degree delay. So that is actually equal to minus 45. Well, this one, you don't be confused. Let me just give one example. Here, I am plotting angle of S21. Angle of S21 should be negative, no? For a two-port network, I am giving one example. So this is angle of S21 for a two-port network. Now, I am drawing for another one. This is, let's say, case 2. This is case 2. And the first one is case. Sometimes PowerPoint is creating that. Okay, this is case 1. Which one is leading, which one is lagging? One of you switch on and tell me. This is angle of S21 versus frequency plot. So case 2 with respect to case 1, it is leading or lagging? This is 0. When I'm coming down, it's negative value. Phase concept everywhere. Yeah. So all of you understood. You see, this phase concept is important, not just in electromagnetics, in circuit theory, in communication, everywhere. So it is, that's why we are saying here delayed by 45 degrees. Anyway, so next part, what is the reflection coefficient seen at port 1 if a short circuit is placed now at the terminal plane of port 3 and all other ports are terminated with mass load? So that means, just like last day's problem, but last day we did it for a 2-port network and here it is 4-port network. But even though 4-port network, it is actually, you see, simplified, because other than port 3, all other ports are mass terminated. So we don't have any reflection from port 4, port 2, we don't have any reflection. So basically it then becomes like a 2-port problem, right? So we have a component coming due to reflection from port 1 plus additional component which is coming due to reflection from port 3. Now it will go through 3 to 1. So 3 to 1 is defined by S13. S13 is given. And when we take voltage reflection, we represent it by negative voltage. Do you represent? Do you remember? So V2 plus V4 plus, that is 0. Since mass terminated, it becomes like a 2-port problem. And then the part which is coming back due to short circuit from port 3, that is minus V3 minus. So now at port 1, we have a direct reflection component due to S11, and 1 is due to port 3 to port 1. That is given by S13. After this, it is just you have to put the values. This part, any confusion? You can switch on and ask.
Sir? Sir?
Yes, tell me, I can hear you.
Sir, at the last question where we have written V3 minus.
Means why?
Sir, over there we have not defined plus S33 V3 plus, means V3 minus.
I did not understand. Means
Sir,
your question is why negative sign or why V3?
No. So last formula for V3 minus has been written S31 V1 plus. Sir, shouldn't there also be a term plus S33 V3 plus?
No. S33, that is coming out from port 3 and that is not coming to port 1. Na? If we have reflection from port 3, that is coming in port 3 direction, not coming in port 1 direction. You have to consider everything in terms of wave. I said that. So we are interested only at port 1 what is happening.
No, sir. The definition for V3 minus would be the full term, right? S31 V1 plus plus S32 V2 plus. But here V2 was 0. So we.
No. Wait a minute. V3 minus. Sorry. Again, you repeat.
The definition for V3 minus would be S31 V1 plus plus S32 V2 plus plus S33 V3 plus plus S34 V4 plus. Here V2 plus and V4 plus are 0 due to matched load.
Yeah, understood. You see, you try to understand the definition of S parameter, or forget about S parameter, Z parameter. Let's say you have a 4-port network. When you are calculating Z12 or Z11, how many sources you will be using? You tell me.
So just the one which we are calculating.
Exactly. Here also same thing. So you are right. If I connect 4 sources at 4 ports, then it would be like that. But I'm just following the definition of S parameter. So we are calculating for port 1 only. Then we have to connect a source at port 1 only. And all other ports are mass terminated.
Okay, sir.
Understood? Okay. Next one actually using hyperbolic relationship, but it's very simple. Anyway, a transmission line resonator, its length is given lambda by 4 and open circuited. So you have to find unloaded quality factor of complex propagation constant. So you can express in terms of alpha and beta. You have to you don't have to calculate it. Nothing is given. You have to just express the result in terms of alpha and beta. Now, if the transmission line is lossy, you recall, then in the input impedance formula, we use tan hyperbolic. Okay, so it is given in DM Pojar's book. We did not cover, we just mentioned the formula. So we have to use that one. Otherwise, it is same as circuit theory. For circuit theory, you recall for a resonator, how you calculated quality factor. I don't have that slide for circuit theory. So we consider two frequencies very close to each other at resonance, right? And over that frequency band, then what is the stored energy and other things we do? We'll be using here same thing, same formula, approach. Well, first let us represent L in terms of Vp. L is lambda by 4. So lambda, that you know, it is Vp by f naught. Now we are expressing in terms of omega naught. Just like circuit theory, we will be representing del by delta omega. Then beta L, this is omega L by Vp plus that delta omega, as I said, circuit theory concept. Well, after that it is straightforward. So you need to just put the value and find what is the change in input impedance, and this is R equal to twice JL delta omega. It is straightforward after that. We are using simply the approximation that delta omega is very small. So for example, tan beta L, this is equal to minus cot, since delta omega is small. So it is cos by sine, cos become 1 and sine becomes delta omega pi by twice omega naught. Okay, so after that, definition of Q factor omega naught L by R, and put the values in terms of this, and then in terms of alpha and beta we have the expression. So go through circuit theory book once. Well, this is another problem on resonator. In this case, the resonator length is given L, characteristics impedance of this transmission line is given Z not equal to 100 ohm, but left side and right side, they are not open circuited or short circuited. You have to calculate L by lambda naught for the first resonance and the unloaded Q of this resonator. Well, unloaded Q, you can even just a previous one actually formula. Well, so here how to proceed, because this problem, this type of problem we never did. For open circuit, what we did, that at the open end we have a fixed boundary condition. At the open end we have voltage maxima, current 0, then input impedance should be infinite, and we put that as resonant condition. If open end is short circuited, it is just the opposite. Current is maximum, voltage is 0, then we put that corresponding condition, ZL is 0. But here some resistance capacitor combination is given, so we can't use that condition. Then how to approach? Well, we use another property, that since it's a transmission line resonator, okay, now forget about this. Let us consider open circuit at both ends. Section of transmission line open circuited at both ends. Now, for all the resonance mode, if this end condition is same. That means if left side is open, right side also open. If left is shorted, right is also shorted. Not that one short, one open. Well, so in that case, we know that we have a standing wave pattern for voltage and current, and that should be symmetric with respect to the midpoint, right? So that should be symmetric with respect to this midpoint. But provided left side, right side condition should be the same, open circuit or short circuit, but both of them together, open or short. Then from this plane, if I look in left side and right side, impedance should be same, voltage by current. That is also, in other words, we can say this is a resonance condition, right? Because otherwise, you see, if it is not symmetrical, it can't support any standing wave pattern. Then this is also a condition of resonance, which we did not discuss during transmission line resonator. But you remember, it will be valid if this left side and right side terminated in same load, otherwise not. Fortunately, in this example, left side load, right side load is same. Well, so after that, it is straightforward. On the mid plane, we calculate what is Z in left side, what is Z in right side. From that, we calculate, we use the definition of resonance, the condition of resonance, and put it here. So ZL and ZR initially, let's say they are separate thing, and then we calculate how if I consider just half of this. Okay, sometimes it's not working. Anyway, so if I consider half of this, so it's a load, then transformed by a section of transmission line to this plane. So Z in, looking from here, which actually we are calling ZL or ZR, that is equal to Z naught, ZL plus JZ naught tan theta by Z naught plus JZL tan theta. Well, it is taken as a constant t since it's same. Now, both of them should be equal. Then it's, we put, okay, just let me stop it. PowerPoint is not working. Okay, now it's coming. And another condition we know that imaginary part should be 0 at resonance. That for series resonance, parallel resonator, already we have learned. The same thing is true here also. Or in other words, you can say that ZL is equal to ZR star, or ZR is equal to ZL star. So we are separating the imaginary part here and finding out the condition. So it's coming then beta L equal to 53.1. Corresponding L is given, so L by lambda is 0.1475. Next part, unloaded quality factor of the resonator. So we have here alpha is not specified. So we'll be considering it, okay, lossless it is given here. So we don't have any loss from the transmission line resonator. Then we have only lossy element as these two resistors, 0.1 ohm and 0.1 ohm. So let me copy this here. Now, how to calculate it? Here we calculate Z in at this plane to see it is working as an equivalent capacitor or equivalent inductor. Z in here. Put the values here and it is coming 0.1 plus J50 ohm. So from left side, if I look into the resonator, it's looking like one inductor, not capacitor. And from right side, okay, sorry, let me represent it. Is the this is the circuit. What we did, we found the value of Z in here on this plane, Z in here, and what we see, this Z in is 0.1 plus J50. So then left side we have this plus this 0.1 plus J50. So then the equivalent circuit in using circuit theory notation, it looks like this. 0.1 plus 0.1, it becomes 0.2, left side J50, right side J50. So now you use any of the formula, XL by R. If I consider, then it's 50 by 0.2, it's coming 250. Any confusion for this part?
Sir, could you explain again? There was a lot of lag.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so first part is fine, only which part?
The Q factor.
Okay, fine. So you see, for transmission line resonator, since it is a lossless transmission line, we don't have any loss from the transmission line part. Then we have loss only due to the resistor. Now, how to find it out? Unloaded quality factor. So for transmission line, we directly did not derive any expression. But can we use circuit theory concept here? So if I want to use circuit theory concept here, then we have to first represent it by using an equivalent circuit, LCR. So what we are doing, we are considering it this one as the reference plane. So left side we have a capacitor and a resistor. Then right side, let us find out what is Z in. So putting the values, we are having Z in is equal to 0.1 plus J50. From the reference plane, if I look into right side, it is coming 0.1 plus J50. Then what is the equivalent circuit? Left side 0.1 and minus J50. And then right side 0.1 plus J50, together it is 0.2 ohm. Now you use the formula omega L by R. It provides you the quality, unloaded quality factor. Is it fine?
Yes, sir. Sir, also if
I could not hear you completely. Also what?
sir, if they have given us a different means another load and told us to calculate the loaded
No.
quality factor, then
No. This one actually you are considering isolated. Now, if I use a load here, then first of all, if the load is directly connected, then we can do it. Let's say I am connecting a 50 ohm load at this point. Then actually your resonant condition will change. Anyway, if I consider the same resonant condition, so 50 ohm load here maybe I'm connecting at this port. So what is the definition of quality factor? You use the same. Now your R value changes. You have to find out what is the equivalent R.
yes, sir. Okay.
In fact, in this circuit, in this problem, if I change left side and right side values, it becomes actually a complex problem. Let's say left side I am saying 0.1 ohm and plus J50, but right side 0.1 ohm and minus J50. So you think then in that case how to proceed? I will answer you in the next class. You understood what I'm saying? Here the load is symmetric, so that's why on the mid plane we did and just put imaginary part 0. But now if the load is not symmetric, left side something else, then how to proceed? Well, so if you have any further question, I will now. Okay, I think already you spent 1 hour. Better you can directly ask me with any part. Otherwise, we are going to end this session. Let me take your attendance. Any confusion for any part? I already uploaded it yesterday. We go to File tab.